Hey ladies, this is Renee with Bushel in a Basket. Tonight I'm going to make one of my husband's favorite meals. He loves Salisbury steak, and I found a really good recipe developed for homemade Salisbury steak. So first of all, you want to get 1.25 pounds of ground sirloin. You add 1 tablespoon of worcestershire sauce, a tablespoon of steak seasoning or salt and pepper, and we prefer to use the Montreal steak seasoning. So you put that in, and then you use 1 medium onion chopped. You add those in there, and then you want to mix this up. And while I'm mixing it up, I've got 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in a pan. You want to get the pan really super hot. So when you put the patties in there, you want to get a good caramelization on both sides of the patties. So I'm going to start making the patties. Now for me, I use wax paper because the patties don't stick to it. So I'm just going to do it with my hands here. Turn this down just a little bit because I can see it smoking. So put on the wax paper and then flatten it out with another piece of wax paper on top. And then we're going to put these in the pan, and you'll probably hear it sizzle because it's definitely hot. So I'm just going to make a few more patties. Like my pan will hold probably 2 more right now. So now you're going to cook the patties about 6 minutes on each side. And then when that gets done, then we're going to take the patties out. We're going to cook the mushrooms and make the gravy. So right now we're just going to cook these up, and when I flip them over, I'll let you guys see what the caramelization looks on the one side, and then we'll cook it on the other side for 6 minutes, and then we'll come back. Okay, it's been 6 minutes, so we're going to flip the patties over here, show you what it looks like on the one side. They're going to be really caramelized and dark. Kind of falling apart. Kind of does that when you use the ground sirloin rather than hamburger because it's got a lot leaner fat, so it doesn't stick together. But it tastes really good once you get all the gravy and everything on them. So turn the heat up just a little bit. It's not as caramelized as these two. Look really good. This one's kind of a little bit on the lighter side. So I'm going to cook the rest of the patties up, and when we get done with that, then I'll bring you back and show you. And the rest of the patties are all cooked, and you can see that these ones are really got a good caramelization on them. So we're going to pull all the patties out and put them over here on a platter. You want to just cover them up with foil so that it kind of retains the heat in the underneath there. So I'm just going to cover them up. The next thing we're going to do is add mushrooms. You want to take about 12 mushrooms, and you want to use 2 different kinds. Now, we usually use just the plain white little button mushrooms and then creminis. But you could also use shiitakes or portobellos. Now, if you're going to use portobellos, don't use the big ones. Or if you're going to use those big ones, you're going to have to cut them up a little bit more. And obviously, you don't need 12 of them because they're large mushrooms. So you want to cut these all up in about 1/4 to 1/2 inch slices. Make them so that they're all about the same size. One of the things too, where you have to clean the mushrooms. My mom always taught me that when you're cleaning mushrooms, you never put them under water. 1, it bruises them, and 2, mushrooms are very porous, so they also will retain the water, and you don't want them to do that. So just get a paper towel or a napkin, damp, and just rub the top of the mushrooms. So that's all you have to do to get the dirt off of them. So I've already cut up my mushrooms, so I'm going to put these in the pan. And you want to saute them in there with that oil that was in there. You want to add another, just like a little round of vegetable oil. And you also add 2 tablespoons of butter, so that they cook up really good, and we want them to look nice and sauteed and get soft. So I'm going to cut the rest of these mushrooms up right quick, put them in the pan, give it a good stir. Like I said, you're going to cook them for 3 to 5 minutes till they get nice and sauteed in there. After we do that, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of flour and try to get all of the caramelized onions and stuff that were on the bottom of the pan. You want to try to get all of that, kind of like what's called deglazing the pan. You put some liquid in there and kind of scrape along the bottom of the pan to get all of the caramelized onions and stuff that are on the bottom. So stir these up a little. Okay, one thing I forgot to tell you about the mushrooms, you need to add a little salt and pepper too while you're sauteing it. So now they've been sauteing for about 3 or 4 minutes. So next we're going to add 2 tablespoons of flour, and when you put this in here, it's going to thicken up this juice that's in here from the mushrooms and the oil and stuff, and make it a really thick, it's called a roux, so we can make our gravy base out of it. So we're going to just have to cook it for just a minute, get the flour all incorporated in here. Thickens it up really good. And then we're going to add 2 cups of just beef stock to this and mix it into our gravy. Cook it for about just a minute, and then it'll thicken up and it'll be your gravy for your Salisbury steak. So looks like that looks pretty good right there. So I'm going to grab the beef stock, just kind of add it in here gradually. Need to grab a spoon here so I can stir better. Our stuff's starting to thicken around the bottom. So I want to stir this in so that it doesn't stick. And then I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit. And then that flour will start incorporating into the beef stock and thicken up and make it into a gravy. So once this gets all done, you add the patties back into here. You can serve it with your favorite side dish, either mashed potatoes or noodles, rice. So whatever your guy likes to serve the best. My husband likes garlic mashed potatoes, so we're going to be making some of those to go with this tonight. So you can see that the mushroom gravy's thickened up now, so I'm just going to set the patties back in here, and then I'm just going to let this simmer on really low heat while I make the mashed potatoes. So this is Renee at Bushel in a Basket, and visit our website at bushelinabasket.com.